Holy moly, donut shop. Stop the press. Jamies Winston is in the house. The return of Mr. Jaboo. Your boy, Jamies Winston, not only secures the starting spot, but may have had the most impressive showing of throwing the football of any other quarterback in week 1. What up, man? Welcome to the Hot Button. I'm your host, Isaac Lane. And we got a video coming to you that's all about Jamies Winston. Jamies Winston and the Pack. First of all, let me say, how wrong was I about 80% of my picks week 1? Hey, that's what happened week 1, right? My goodness. I don't know too many people who had Jamies Winston and the Saints coming into Lambeau Field and leaving with the W, man. I didn't have it. I don't know who else really had it. But, man, I'm glad to see it. This is the Hot Button Sports Show. I'm your host, Isaac Lane. Listen, before we officially get into this video, consider subscribing so you get notified every time the Hot Button drops a video. How do you not love what you saw from the Jamies Winston? Now, before I get into this, I am qualified to talk about Jamies Winston. I'm qualified to give an opinion about Jamies Winston in a football jersey because he's been my quarterback for a very long time. He was my quarterback at Florida State. He was my quarterback for 5 years in Tampa. And I got some things that I want to say. Let me first start out by saying this. I am genuinely happy for Jamies Winston simply because very seldomly, it's rare to where it works out on both sides and for both parties. So when we initially got rid of Jamies Winston, I was on the fence because while I wanted to keep him, I don't think anyone in their right mind could justify keeping a quarterback who threw 30 interceptions. So I wasn't mad when we got rid of him. But what lessened the blow, what softened the blow, was the fact that we didn't move on from him to Teddy Bridgewater. We didn't move on from him to Matthew Stafford. We didn't move on from him to anybody else. We moved on from him to the greatest quarterback to ever live. We left Jamies Winston, got Tom Brady, so it worked out as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, as a diehard Buck fan. But at the same time, here's the joy of it all. It worked out for Jamies Winston. Not only does he have an opportunity to start again, look what happened to him. He got an opportunity to go to New Orleans, a great franchise, to sit behind one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever live in Drew Brees, and to also be tutored and coached by one of the greatest offensive minds the game has ever seen and or produced, and that is the coach, Sean Payton. And he also had an opportunity to gain that locker room in his favor because he wasn't handed the job. He won the job over Taysom Hill. So now that we got that out of the way, as a Buccaneer fan, you can do nothing else but applaud and be happy for Jamies Winston. Now, based on the game, based on the week 1 game of the Packers versus the Saints, here are a few takeaways. Here are a few takeaways that I have. Actually, about 4 or 5 takeaways. Number 1, just from Jamies Winston. Number 1, his composure was through the roof. I love the fact that he looked well composed. He didn't have happy feet. He wasn't anxious. He wasn't rushing anything. He looked very composed. He looked calm under pressure. He looked confident under pressure. His body language was put together. It was a very solid turnout. His composure just jumped off of the television screen. Secondly, number 2, the accuracy. Jamies Winston had laser beam-like accuracy, man. There was one touchdown. I believe it was his second touchdown to that tight end, to Johnson, to the tight end. It was on a 3rd and goal or a 4th and goal. I believe it was 4th and goal. And It looks like he's finna get sacked. And he throws the ball. And when he threw it initially, it looked like it was going to be off. But he threw the ball to number 83, to his tight end, where only the tight end could get it. He threw it high, threw it at an angle, gave the tight end an opportunity to use his body to seal off the defender and to haul in the pass. That, among many other passes, I loved what I saw in the deep ball game. As we know, if you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, you know Jamies Winston can thread the needle, which leads to my third point and my third highlight from watching that game, and that was his decision-making. We know he hasn't always made the best decisions on the football field when he was in the Tampa Bay Buccaneer jersey, but he has grew. He has matured, and I am amazed, and I don't know what word to use. I want to say honored to see his maturation process. His decision-making was great. There was a play toward the end of the first half where nobody was open. This specific play stands out to me. Nobody was open. He had all time in the world. No time was open. He looks to the left, looks to the right, looks down the middle, checks all of his reads, sees that nobody's open, and he throws the ball out of bounds. Now, for someone who doesn't really know Jamies Winston, when they see that, they'll say, whoop-de-doo, what's that? They probably would have said, oh, man, why you didn't run it? Why you didn't do this or that? But for those of us who rocked with Jamies for 5 years in Tampa, we see that and we stand up and give it a standing ovation. That's exactly what I did in my house. I stood up and gave him a standing ovation because in years past, he would have forced that ball to who he wanted to throw it to. He would have forced that ball. But he has grown and his decision-making has grown, and you can tell. Next is, man, Jamies Winston did not throw the ball 50 times. Something that he was doing in Tampa relentlessly and religiously. You give this guy a running back. You give this guy a legit check down, and Jamies Winston could be a monster. He didn't have to throw the ball 50 times. You throw him 50 times, you're going to get close to 30 interceptions, which is one of the reasons why I was on the fence when we originally got rid of him. And like I said, I came around because we got the GOAT. But, man, he wasn't throwing the ball 50. I think he threw the ball less than 25 times, man. Just spot on, 5 touchdown passes. And last but not least, Jamies Winston looked like he's having fun. And it's a sincere sense of fun. And it looks like everybody around him is having fun. In Tampa, it looked like he was having fun, but everybody else wasn't having that much fun because he was throwing all these interceptions and we were losing. But it really genuinely looks like that team likes him and that they are having a ball in New Orleans. Hats off to Jamies Winston, and Mr. Jaboo is back. And he has officially put the league on MVP notice.